Hello, I'm Morris Ruddick. This is the second in a series about the calling of a group of business people patterned after the patriarch Joseph. Let me begin the part of this portrait that relates to better understanding this Joseph calling. On a personal level, the Joseph calling reflects the essence of what the Lord has been working in my own life and calling since the early 1970s. After a very dramatic encounter with the Lord in 1971, I left a successful military career in midstream in order to attend Bible school to prepare myself for the ministry I sensed the Lord calling me into, and that ministry did not conform to what I expected. It certainly did not happen on the take charge, proactive type of timetable I had been used to as a Marine Corps officer. But after my preparation in Bible studies, I found myself being led into a master's program in a secular university. Then, after completing graduate school, I knew I was being uniquely led into a position within an international consulting firm. But I didn't understand it in terms of knowing that the Lord had called me into the work of the ministry. Entering the ministry was why I'd left a perfectly fine career in the military. And after a couple of years of learning the ropes in the consulting business, I was uniquely led to start my own consulting firm. And while some of my clients were ministry clients, I had this distinct sense that I knew was from God, that the work I was doing in the secular realm had strategic ramifications in terms of my calling. Yet, I simply did not understand it completely. It did not fit with the traditional mindset that I had relative to what the work of the ministry or the kingdom work was all about. But then elements of the understanding relative to God's calling in my life began to flow together, little by little. After a word the Lord spoke to me while in prayer in the late 70s, I was deeply stirred and impacted by these words, as I trust you will be stirred by them. They are indeed a word for this hour. Here's what that word was. Just as in the days of Joseph and Daniel, God will bring out mighty works at your hand as you are led into the midst of the world. Kings, rulers, leaders will be converted and humbled. You shall work beside them and be given authority, and your counsel will be heeded for their good. Incorporated in these words so central to my own calling is the thrust of what I refer to as the Joseph calling, a calling that is an essential part of the new wineskins of the era that we are entering, a calling that until this hour many have simply not fully understood. It relates to an interlinking of business enterprises with overriding ministry objectives. It relates also to a model or prototype reflected by the patriarch Joseph. And it relates to incredible changes in process within the world today. It involves a global move of the Holy Spirit designed to bring the body into a functioning oneness, a oneness within the church, and a oneness between Gentile and Jewish believers, a oneness that transcends exclusiveness, elitism, and the competition that's so much out there and is marked by cooperation. It involves an unparalleled opportunity before this emerging group of anointed and called business leaders, and it involves the impact each of these factors will have on Israel in the days before us. The Joseph calling has a direct correlation to turbulent times. So to better understand the Joseph calling, I need to describe what I label as the Issachar context. Issachar, the sons of Israel, who understood the times and knew what to do. We've already hit on some of the significant change underway. But where is all this change heading, and how does it relate to the callings of marketplace leaders in the days ahead? What is the Issachar context for our era? And how does it drive the calling of today's Josephs? Parenthetically, one of my ministry involvements is via a private network on the internet of leading a group of prophetic intercessors from around the globe in addressing strategic level issues impacting the body on a global basis. So in this role of addressing strategic level issues impacting the body on a global basis, this is what I currently see. We are entering a time when there will be changes in the infrastructures of the world's systems that will create reversals, resulting in discontinuities and shortages, such as the world has never seen. But in the same manner that Joseph the patriarch was sent ahead to prepare for what was coming to the earth, God is today sending individuals ahead to prepare for a time of great change that will precede the greatest harvest of all times. These will be individuals who clearly hear God's voice and who possess a unique understanding of the times, who will be thrust into positions of influence within the economic, governmental, and business infrastructures that guide the course of world events. And much as in the days of Joseph, the needs of the body and the funding of the coming harvest will be met in unusual ways as God taps the body into his unlimited resources and unites us in a common, singular vision. And it is in this hour that the Lord is raising up a network of Josephs with different roles and thrusts, a global company of servant leader business persons who will serve a similar role to Joseph of old in harnessing the world's systems and in guiding God's people into the greatest harvest the world has ever seen. The Issachar context reflects the fact that we live in unprecedented times. No time in history since the Lord walked the face of the earth has life as we know it changed so rapidly. We only need to look at the exponential acceleration of communication and technology and computer advancements to see the change that results from destructive technologies and new innovation, enabling individuals and groups to communicate inexpensively and instantaneously between multiple corners of the globe, and to look at the increases and the discontinuities such as radical power shifts, the increase of ethnic conflicts, the population explosions in third world and Islamic nations, not to speak of earthquakes, floods, and famines. We are in a world where life as we know it is on the edge. And the rate of change and the discontinuities should be a wake-up call for us all to understand more clearly what the Lord is doing throughout the earth. Again, like the sons of Issachar, to understand the times and to know what to do. The Josephs of today have been prepared and raised up to meet the unusual needs of the times that we have entered. Let's take a closer look at Joseph the patriarch and the Josephs and Josephinas of our time. These are anointed business leaders who possess significant character, a clear maturity in the Lord, and a distinct understanding of their calling. Persons who, like Joseph of old, will be recognized and respected by the people of the world that they serve and work with. There are a number of historical descriptions of Joseph the patriarch that have had a mighty impact on me personally. Two in particular uniquely describe who Joseph was, and they each basically say the following. The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and everyone saw that the Lord was with Joseph and made all that he did to prosper. The amazing thing to me is the fact that the first time this description was made, Joseph was in slavery. The second time, he was in prison. In essence, They strongly underscore the depth of Joseph's character and calling, which were recognized by the people of the world that Joseph worked with long before he was elevated to work alongside of Pharaoh. And this is Morris Ruddick. In our next session, we will be discussing what made Joseph so unique.